We begin tonight with breaking news. A Cybertruck explosion outside the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas has ties to Colorado.
A source tells 9 News investigates that the person who rented the truck and drove it to Vegas lived in Colorado Springs. Police say the truck pulled into that valet area at the hotel this morning. Bed of the truck filled with gas tanks, camping fuel, and fireworks, and it exploded. The only person inside the truck was found dead. 7 other people nearby were hurt. Police say the Cybertruck was rented here in Colorado using the app Turo. They were able to track it through Tesla charging stations between here and Vegas. The FBI is now working to determine whether this was an act of terrorism. Our source says that a search warrant is being executed at a property in Colorado Springs tonight that's linked to the person. We have video of that search at a townhome complex. We've learned that that person involved in this has previously served in the military. "14 people are dead. More than 30 are hurt after a pickup truck driver flying an ISIS flag ran into people on Bourbon Street last night. New Orleans police have clarified the number of people killed in this attack, 14 victims, and then the attacker, a 15th death. That person died in a shootout with police. Tonight, we're beginning to learn more about the people whose lives were cut short.
We've now learned the names of some of the victims. 28-year-old Tiger Beck was a former Princeton football player. His younger brother is also a wide receiver at TCU. Tiger had been working as an investment trader in New York. Nicole Perez was a single mom to a 4-year-old son. She was in her late 20s. Her family said she had just been promoted to manager at the restaurant where she worked, and she was really excited about that. 37-year-old Reggie Hunter was a father of 2 who had just left work and was headed to celebrate New Year's with his cousin. His cousin was hurt in the attack as well. And 18-year-old Nikira Dido was preparing to start college and begin working towards her goal of becoming a registered nurse.
The FBI identified the attacker today as 42-year-old Shamsuddin Jabbar. New Orleans police say their officers killed him after he got out of the truck and started shooting. Jabbar was an American citizen who lived in Texas. He had served in the U.S. Army, including a deployment to Afghanistan, 2009 to 2010. President Biden says the FBI found videos that the suspect posted on social media hours before the attack, saying that he was inspired by the terror group ISIS. Investigators also found improvised explosives, including 2 pipe bombs there at the scene.
He was hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did.
Is saying they do not believe the suspect acted alone, but as of tonight, law enforcement officials tell NBC News there is no active manhunt for other specific suspects.
Security barriers meant to protect pedestrians from cars were removed before the attack. This video, not from New Orleans, shows what they look like. City officials say the bollards had been malfunctioning. They were in the process of replacing them ahead of the Super Bowl next month. Police say they were aware of the issue, so they increased security where those bollards previously were with patrol cars and other measures. But of course, that truck was able to get out there and on the sidewalk. That kind of attack that happened in New Orleans is possible anywhere that cars can get to where pedestrians gather. And there are a growing number of pedestrian areas in the Denver metro area. Steel bollards are across Larimer Street. Concrete posts are outside a federal courthouse. And outside the home of the Broncos, large rocks. They're all different takes on the same idea that barriers are needed between cars and the people on foot. In Old Town Arvada, city leaders found a way to take a pedestrian-friendly area created during the pandemic and make it permanent.
We knew we had to make it safe. That was paramount. We needed to be able to have that emergency response when it was necessary, but we also wanted to make sure that our pedestrians, when they gathered in the street, didn't have to worry about a rogue vehicle coming through, either intentionally or much more likely accidentally.
So they did that with a combination of steel bollards and higher than normal curbing and islands designed to stop a car but let a fire truck through if there was an emergency. This plan has been tested and it worked. A couple of years ago, someone accidentally drove into that area reserved for pedestrians, and those higher curbs stopped that driver. The new year brought some frigid temperatures with it. DIA dropped down to 11 degrees this morning. That is tied for Denver's coldest morning since March 26, way back in March, 281 days ago.
That was a
long
while.
time ago. And it's cold across the metro area, but the mountains are dealing with snowfall, and they like that. This is a live look from Steamboat tonight. Advisories and warnings are now in effect for parts of the high country, with snow estimated to last through tomorrow night.
Mountains are dealing with snow, Carl, the way that we would deal with winning the lotto, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah, it's such a pain that they have to deal with that snow. It's just gravy on top of everything that's already fallen. There's still some more. It's not super active right now, but we are expecting it to pick up during the overnight. But right now, it's really up towards Fort Morgan and a little bit up towards Red Feather Lakes, down towards Winter Park, but nothing that's too intense at this point. A little bit of that accumulation is pretty light if you are traveling out towards the eastern plains today. Now, winter weather advisories in place for areas highlighted in blue here. This is for additional snow on top of everything that's fallen, but it's the wind that will blow it around that will make it specifically, challenging if you're trying to come home from the mountains or go to the mountains for the weekend. And again, the winter storm warning for Steamboat, the Park and Elkhead Mountains. Again, the gusts could make things really difficult for travel. And then the avalanche watch, this is a high avalanche danger level 4 out of 5, goes into effect tomorrow from 5 a.m. to 5 p.m. We have a bit to go through in the 7-day forecast, including a few chances for snow, especially through the weekend. Back to you.
A teenager is recovering tonight after falling 30 feet into an old missile silo. It happened on state-owned land just south of Watkins.
9 News reporter Janelle Finch walks us through this rescue effort.
South Metro Fire says the teen was stuck in the silo for a little more than an hour before first responders pulled him out. The department couldn't say how serious his injuries are, but he is expected to survive. South Metro Fire says 2 teenagers and an adult were walking around the missile silo before one of the teens fell in. The department says he landed 30 feet underground in water. SMFR says the teen fell straight down and the water likely cushioned his fall. The department says more than 25 South Metro, Sable Altura Fire Rescue, and Bennett firefighters responded to the silo. Sable Altura says 2 of their first responders used rope to pull the teen up. South Metro says this isn't the first rescue first responders have made in the silo.
These are very dangerous silos that you can be injured in. So we just would really ask that people respect the private property and stay off this land and out of the property.
The Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office says trespassing charges are pending. South of Watkins, Janelle Finch, 9 News.
There are 6 former Titan missile complexes in Colorado. The silos were decommissioned by the federal government in 1965 and missiles removed. You may remember earlier this year, a teenager was seriously hurt after falling down a silo near Deer Trail.
A passenger rail service that would bring people from Denver up into the mountains and out to northwest Colorado could be running in time for the start of ski season in late 2026.
That sounds very soon.
Yeah.
That's quick compared to the glacial pace of other proposed rail projects in Colorado. 9 News reporter Ria Jha tells us why CDOT believes this one won't take so long to start chugging along.
Yeah, exactly. So the actual details of this project aren't fully fleshed out, like train times, train stops, or the ticket prices, but we're getting this timeline now because state officials announced a deal last week that basically allows trains to pass through the Moffett Tunnel. So that means the route is good to go.
Most trips up to Colorado's majestic northern mountains come with a trade-off.
Sitting in traffic for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours.
Today, Coloradans know the pain of crawling along I-70, wishing for anything but this.
You know, when everybody is all trying to drive at the same time, there is kind of a tragedy of the commons, right?
A tragedy indeed. Back in the day, there was an alternative, the Yampa Valley Mail.
It not only carried passengers, but also the mail, hence the name. The Mountain Rail project is essentially a reinvigoration of a historical rail line.
It stopped operating in 1968, but it seems like it's making a comeback. Paul DeRocher, CDOT's Director of Transit and Rail, said the proposed mountain rail would connect Denver to Craig, passing through Winter Park, Steamboat Springs, and other mountain towns.
We have a very ambitious goal to be able to initiate at least the first section of this project, that being from Denver Union Station to Granby, by the end of 2026 or 2027.
It would be part of a broader effort to develop passenger rail in Colorado. But unlike other projects, the hardest part is history.
I think the fact that we have this existing asset is really kind of an amazing opportunity for the state to capitalize on.
Freight trains, the Winter Park Express, and the California Zephyr already use parts of the rail. CDOT's Tim Hoover says it's just a matter of giving it a little TLC.
Right now, the rail line, it's safe and all that, but it's not quite up to snuff for modern passenger rail standards in terms of comfort and convenience and stuff like that.
What we're trying to do is simply provide options. Transportation is freedom.
A freedom many Coloradans are ready to embrace.
CDOT hasn't secured any funding yet, but they aren't expecting it to require any tax increases like their other projects. Reporting live in Denver, Rhea Cha, 9 News.